I'll begin my comments by saying that I think we should try to learn what we can from foreign counterparts to the extent that it might be relevant and consistent with our own values and governmental system. Accordingly, I have a couple questions in that vein. And Director Mueller, I would like to direct the first one to you. Scotland Yard has a system of special branches that pass sanitized intelligence information to the police and to the private sector. The British Security Service sends staff to the special branch offices. This gives them a national reach. Do you believe this approach could work in the United States? Why and why not? Or why not?
Well, I think aspects of it certainly could work. I think our joint terrorism task forces that we've set up around the country are a variation of that type of system. We are far larger than Great Britain. We have something like 18,000 police departments, 17,000, 18,000 police departments throughout the United States. And we're unlike Australia, Canada, which has the RCMP, or Great Britain. And that distinction makes a big difference. We are a democracy, and we are democratized our policing within the United States. And the Joint Terrorism Task Forces, in my mind, are mechanisms whereby we can accomplish the same type of sharing that is done by Scotland Yard. One of the things we are doing is that we are integrating in the task forces individuals from the CIA in the country, so that we have ready on scene that type of information that is inside the CIA computers that can match up with the information we may have in the state and local level, which in my mind goes some distance towards accomplishing what the MI5 model does in Great Britain.
Malcolm was a New York FBI agent detailed for several years to the Counterterrorism Center. He told the FBI's Office of the Inspector General that he understood his role at the CTC was, among other things, to be the eyes and ears of the New York field office. We do not believe that he performed this role sufficiently. He acknowledged to the Office of the Inspector General that one of his duties was to monitor New York field office cases, but he said he read only the cables that he thought were interesting, generally based solely on the review of the cable subject line. In addition, while he said his role was to facilitate inquiries of mutual interest, the only example he could provide was his acting as a liaison for FBI officers around the country by following up on tracing requests and reporting on their status. This was not very onerous or substantiative. We believe that FBI management is primarily responsible for failing to provide the FBI detailees to the Counterterrorism Center, including Malcolm, with clear duties, direction, and supervision. We believe Malcolm should have done more and taken more initiative in performing his duties at the Counterterrorism Center. For several months in 2000, Nawaf al-Hazmi and Khalid al-Mihdhar lived as boarders in the house of an FBI informant asset. The asset briefly mentioned the two boarders to his FBI control agent, who he calls Stan. Stan did not document this information, seek to learn the boarders' full identities, or conduct any checks on them. No FBI policy required Stan to seek or document this type of information from the asset. And we found differences among the other FBI agents who we interviewed about whether they would have sought such information from an asset. While Stan did not violate any specific FBI policy, we believe it would have been a better and more prudent practice for him to have sought at least minimal information from his asset about the boarders living with him. The asset knew little about the boarders, and the boarders could have compromised information provided by the asset to the FBI. Moreover, FBI policy required Stan to continually evaluate the asset's credibility and provide a yearly evaluation report on the asset. Stan's yearly report on this asset was minimal, with a bare attestation of the asset's bona fides. It contained no indication of what evidence Stan had used to make those attestations. While we do not suggest that Stan had to conduct extensive reviews of everyone living with the asset, Stan's actions in following up on this information were not particularly thorough or aggressive.